I'm very happy to be joined today by owner of Shadow Paw Press, Edward Willett. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course, now today we'll be talking about a series that you have edited called Shaper of Worlds, and we're going to be talking about the latest book that has come out. It is volume 5, and this is part of an anthology series. So tell me a little bit about this series and about this latest, and it is the last addition to this anthology.
Well, back in 2018, I started a podcast where I interview other science fiction and fantasy authors, because I am myself a science fiction fantasy author, about their creative process. And that had been going for a little while. And then I saw a presentation at Sask Books annual meeting about someone who had kickstarted, a Winnipeg publisher who had kickstarted an anthology. And I thought, hey, I know some authors because of the podcast and other reasons. And so I got the idea that at the end of the first year of the podcast, I would see how many authors were interested that I'd interviewed were interested in being part of an anthology, and 18 of them said yes, and the Kickstarter succeeded let's see, spring of 2020, when nothing else was happening in the world, but nevertheless, it succeeded. And I've done it 5 times now, so 5 years and over 100 short stories in these anthologies.
That is incredible. And it coming and having so many authors come together to be in this book and write their own short stories is amazing. Now, how was it working with a bunch of different authors in these different volumes or different series that you have released?
Well, the majority of the authors I'm working with are quite experienced. I have a number of international best-selling authors like Sherilyn Kenyon, for example, is in here, a name that people might recognize, not in the current one, but in a previous one. So, working with them, they're used to working with people. It was not a problem at all. It was just a matter of writing herd on everybody, making sure I got the stories when I needed them, making sure that I got the contracts out, making sure that I got everything edited in time. It's just what I do. I work with words and texts and publish things.
That's wonderful. Now, going off of that, with your company, Shadow Paw Press, tell me a little bit about the company itself. And if anybody is watching this and is an author themselves or looking to have their work published or edited, tell me a little bit about your company and what inspiring authors should know.
Well, Shadowpaw Press is named after our black Siberian cat, Shadowpaw. His picture's on every book as the logo, even though he's absolutely no help whatsoever. I started it primarily because I had 2 projects. One was a collection of my own short fiction, and one was my grandfather-in-law's First World War memoirs that I wanted to bring out. And I was just going to, put them on Amazon, and then a local publisher, Heather Nichol of Your Nicholsworth, said, "No, you should start a publishing company." And for the first while, I was mostly focused on my stuff, where the publisher has gone away and the rights reverted to me. But then I had the anthology, and all of a sudden I was publishing all these other authors. A couple of other projects came my way, and the next thing I knew, I was running a traditional publishing company, published 20 books last year, which is too much for one person and a cat, but I managed it anyway, and I'm tracked for about 8 this year. So Shadowpaw Press is a traditional publisher, very limited um, submission openings. I will, people are welcome to reach out, but I don't have a wide open submission policy. I have another company called Endless Sky Books, which is more of the publishing services side of things. If someone is interested in that model, where they're wanting to hire an editor, or they'd like to talk about getting a book published that way, they can also contact me. And I'm easy to find. I'm at edwardwillett.com, and Shadowpaw Press is at shadowpawpress.com, and you can get to me through either of those sites. And if you go to Shadowpaw Press, you'll see everything I've published.
Wonderful. Now, finally, if anybody's interested in this series or any other works that you've released, where else can they find it? Anywhere else other than your website? Where can they find your work?
Shadowpaw Press is distributed through Lit Disco, which is a major Canadian distribution literary distributor, and so my books are available in or through any bookstore you would like to order them from. Everything is available online as ebooks as well, so ebooks, print books, widely available. You just have to, and also directly from the website, shadowpawpress.com. So not hard to find if you're looking for them.
Wonderful. Well, it was great talking to you about this new series or this last book in this series and about you and your company. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me on.